Hey everyone, it's Maeve and Sunny. I hope you guys enjoy her being in this video. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about one of our oneness topics. So understanding my oneness is more of some enlightenment stuff. How do I understand? How do I kind of get rid of some of my own suffering because our world is tough right now. So, okay. Today's topic is, it comes up in my private practice as a counselor because obviously I'm working with people who are struggling with things. And I think it's easy. The topic for today is feeling like you're hopeless or or how to handle it when you're feeling stuck. So I think there's two options that we have when we're feeling stuck or like that we have no options. So the first choice we have is to change our environment. And I understand that there's some times where you just can't. Maybe you don't have any resources to move, or you're in an unsafe situation where it's like you're not sure what to do or how to stay safe during that transition. And I totally understand that. Do what you need to do to stay safe. So aside from that, or still, hopefully you'll keep listening. So there are things that we can do to change our environment. Sometimes we need to really be honest with ourselves. Like sometimes people might be in a financial pinch and they're like, okay, well, I really want to keep my house though, but I can't afford it. So they're working all these long hours and they're they're running themselves ragged. And it's like, you have to really decide, like, is that suffering of running yourself ragged? Is it really worth you living in that house? And can you have some flexibility and say, okay, I could have a new home somewhere else, somewhere cheaper, so that I can have my life back, so I can have more comfort, and not be stressed out all the time. So there's a lot of times where we limit ourselves and the choices that we have because we don't want to make a change. And so that's something to be really careful of. Another thing that you can do is sometimes you're not able to change your environment, but you are able to change little things in your day. So maybe setting a boundary with a coworker, or making new choices from old patterns. So, as you reflect on yourself and your history and your own psychology and all of those things, what are your patterns? And so say somebody who continues to choose dysfunctional relationships, right? So that person can come back to me and say, okay, and start whining about this person that they've chosen to be with again, or a new person that's basically the same though, because the patterns continue. So when you don't choose to change your patterns and then you are suffering because of that, you really need to dig deep and say, what am I not changing about myself? What choices am I not choosing to avoid these relationships? So if you really don't like these relationships anymore, or if you don't like the situation that you continue to find yourself in, then what new choices are you not making? Sometimes it's really hard to look deep into those things, and so obviously find therapy or talk to people who know you really well, who can be supportive and empathetic and emotionally safe for that. And it's really often that trauma causes this inaction. It's so difficult to make this action happen or this new behavior happen because we have this trauma that's still affecting us. And so then of course continue getting the help that you need to do that. But that's another choice, right? Like if you acknowledge, okay, maybe I do have this trauma, or I'm not making these decisions, but you don't seek help for it, that's another choice you're making. So acknowledge the choices that you are not making, set boundaries, do something small in your day, add a cup of tea in your afternoon when you're stressed at 3:00, or take a 5-minute walk when you're tired in the afternoon and you're having a slump. there's a lot of those little things that you probably know that you should be doing, and it's that self-accountability of, if I just did this, my day would go a lot easier, or I could be more relaxed right now. But we usually don't do that because it's the harder choice. But again, what's the choice that you're making? Okay? I know, it's hard. I've been there. Do it. I still have those same conflicts for myself. So, you know, it's never like we're there or we're all healed, or it's not always 100%. Okay, now I've made it. We still have to work on these things, but at least you're doing that, right? The other choice that we have when I've already tried to change our environment, or you know, if these can kind of be used in combo as well. So the other choice is having mental flexibility. And by that, I mean is like what our reality is what our thoughts are. So I just want to use this personal example. I think it might bring some context to what we're talking about. So I had my daughter when I got pregnant when I was 20, and then I had her when I was 21. And then I got my master's in counseling psychology when I went to the interview for that. I interviewed for the counseling program when I was like super pregnant. And of course I was super nervous about that, but I didn't let it stop me, right? Like, we can't let these fears hold us back. So I still went, and I said, well, if he judges me, then I can't do anything about that, you know, the interviewer. But I'm still going to do this, and I'm going to do me. And that was super powerful, and it wasn't an issue. Like, I still got in. They never said anything about me being pregnant or whatever. So for me, I've wrestled with this. You know, I felt stuck. I felt trapped in the sense of, I have a daughter, right? And there's also some very big career moves, or maybe a relationship or something, where I'm like, I really want this. I want to move out of state. I want to work this job, but I can't because it doesn't work with my schedule as a single mom. So I could sit here and say, oh, I could be bitter, sad, resentful. I could be feeling hopeless about, oh, I don't have these opportunities because this is the way my situation is. And this is exactly where we need to have that mental flexibility. Okay, I chose, the choices I made were the choices I've made. And so I need to acknowledge that. And be okay with what I have available to me now. So that means I need to say, okay, I have these blessings though. Like, focusing on the blessings that you have and the opportunities that you have in the situation that you're in right now is what gives you that mental flexibility. So for me, it's, okay, I can't move out of state, but look at this beautiful child I have and all of the fun that we're doing and and that's a blessing. I'm blessed by the family that we have around us. If it wasn't for his family and my family, I want to finish grad school. So there's a lot of ways that we in our mind likes to trick us to say, like, the situation that you're in isn't what you want or isn't ideal. But you know what? Well, I don't want to say life isn't ideal, but it's difficult. And how we perceive our life is our choice. Our perceptions are our choice. So instead of feeling upset about where I'm at in my life, I just say, okay, I'm blessed in these ways. There's these opportunities that I have here for now, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. A lot of times I say that in session where someone will be like, oh, but this and this. And I'm like, but that's okay. It's okay that you feel this way, or it's okay that this is what's going on for you right now. It's okay. So having that mental flexibility means acknowledging your blessings, acknowledging what choices you are or are not making for yourself and being accountable to those. And also, one big thing is acknowledging that we cannot predict the future. And so if you're sitting here saying, okay, this is my 5-10 year plan, this is exactly how my life is going to go for the rest, like, I'm sorry, but that's going to create you some suffering, because life's going to come in and say, nope, I'm going to mix it up, and this is going to be this is what I'm handing you now. And that's not always fun, especially when we're super attached to those plans that we've made for ourselves. And so when we have the assumption that we can predict the future, we know what's best for ourselves, that creates mental inflexibility and rigidity to what we thought we wanted. Because now all of a sudden we're feeling disappointed and sad and angry that this is the way it is when we really wanted this. And so that's when we bring in some spirituality and we say, and whatever your spirituality is, use it. But I want you to have some kind of spirituality. And whether that's trust in God, trust in the universe, Mother Nature, or any of the other religions, Buddha, like, and I want to also say religion is different than spirituality. So I like to focus on spirituality. So have and use that, because that's super comforting in times where we say, okay, I know I'm here, but I want these things. And you're like, I know that I'm learning this lesson. I'm learning to have patience. I'm learning to trust in the greater plan of things, but I still don't get it, or it just sucks. It'll still give you that comfort when you're feeling like you're having a hard time just accepting some things, or working with what you have. So I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully some of that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, please comment and I'll try to answer questions. I'm on YouTube, Understanding My Whiteness and Understanding My Oneness. All right, and I'm on Instagram, Maeve1106, I think. Okay, bye.